What it is, good people? It is the Bad Wolf, the Man in Black, and this is Bad Wolf Unrestricted. We're going to talk about advice. Oh, here we go. Advice is a funny thing. We all need it, we all could use it, but we really should not be trusting every source we get it from because a lot of people have bad advice. Nobody has all of it. We all have pieces, and we have to somehow decipher the good pieces from the bad. Even somebody who's got great business advice may have horrible love advice. But I'll tell you this, if you can find somebody that you admire and is where you are, been through what you're going through, then that's usually a good place to listen. But at the end of the day, you still need to make your own decision. Just because some guys over here have, you know, well, hell, a penis doesn't mean that I should just listen to them and all their advice is great because they're male. For ladies, just because another girl or female or woman over here has a vagina does not make her the authority on all things vagina and female related, or especially talking about a good man. And a lot of males will also have bad advice for other dudes about females. You need to cut your own path, but then don't also assume that advice, which is good today, may not be good tomorrow, or that you cannot find good advice as a female from a man, or from a man from for a man, but for from a woman. Listen to the person. Inside of these meat suits is nothing but a soul that wills it. So it doesn't matter about, to a degree, let me say this carefully and correctly, that what their genitalia is. It's their experience. Are they speaking from a healthy, good, safe place? When I look at people, I like to look at, is their life balanced? Do they have their shit together? Are they looking out for my best interest? Do they have anything against me? Do I have something that they want? Because those things can influence how they speak to you. Some of the best people with the best advice are usually healthy, older couples. Why? They've been through the shit and they got their shit together. That woman has helped to make that man a better man. That man has helped that woman to be a better woman. They are a team. They've balanced with the yin yang symbol their reality, themselves, their kids, their finances, their world. That is something that should be emulated. You can be okay by yourself and balanced within, but do you understand? And that some people sometimes kind of, and not general. But do you know what kind of extra effort it takes and energy on levels you can't even perceive to find an opposite, a male or a female, and then you guys balance things? Now, balance doesn't mean perfect, but it means we have a system in place to deal with that. We're not going to argue and yell and disrespect each other because that's what kids do. If you're grown, you shouldn't be arguing with anybody. You can debate, you can talk, come to a resolution, find a solution, make sure that this won't happen again, find where things went wrong. But if you got to argue or put hands on somebody, disrespect them, that relationship will never, almost never be on solid foundation. So a lot of people mean well, but meaning well is different than being well. And projecting well. Those are all different things. And if you don't have my best interest at heart when you speak to me, then I'm not going to speak to you. I'm also not going to share my advice. And this is one of the things for me personally. I'm not going to just be giving, and I really stopped this a long time ago. Unless somebody asks me to speak to their person or whoever else and they really kind of beg me, I'm not going to sit here and try to convince your boyfriend or girlfriend or mom or dad or boss or whoever else of anything because generally people don't want the advice. They take it personal, and it is personal, so I get that, but they take it as a personal attack. I now understand why old people smile at you and they just keep going because they know that you don't want their advice. They know that at the end of the day, it's going to be you falling down the stairs, up the stairs, getting used on the stairs, losing money, crying, losing your wits, and you're going to find a way. And either you're going to be a part of a fixture sucked into the story, the fabric they're in, and you're just going to be that hoe that everybody uses on their way to town. You're going to be that farmer over here selling fruit. You're going to be the bum in the street who everybody laughs at and smells like pee. Because if you don't get things right, you're going to be stuck with the advice and the experience that you have, and it's going to keep you right there on the side of the road. And you'll keep wondering why people pass you by. Now, for a long time, I used to think that was a horrible thing, and I would help everybody, give everybody anything they wanted, everything to try to help them. And then I realized not everybody wants help. I thought because I would always want help if I needed it, then I rarely have ever actually had a need for help, at least to the point where I had to ask for it. I thought everybody was like me, and the hell wrong I was. And people took advantage of that. It wasn't that I was stupid, it was just I was caring, but I was also naive. I heard their words and I assumed that it meant something deeper. I seen something deeper. Wanted to believe, didn't want to be alone, wanted to be a part of something, wanted to form a village. And that's not what they wanted. They wanted their fix physically, financially, sexually, whatever it was. Most of these people don't want your words, your wisdom. They believe and think and feel they know it all. So I get into a little mini chat with this young lady, right? She's 20. I'm double her age and a little bit more. And I had to catch myself because I didn't really want to get into a whole thing. And this happened more than once within this last year. And as I'm sitting here listening to her, I realized that not only is are the youth of today changed differently by this environment, because the environment itself has become very sick and toxic, that she in avenues has become very sick and toxic, and she does not see it. Everything I then have to say to sick and toxic ears, when it's built into her foundation, from me then sounds sick and toxic. I now know why old people smile and don't say anything because they believe that you'll either figure it out or you won't. And fuck you. That's what they're really saying. I lived my life. So unless you ask me for something, I'm not giving you shit. What I'm going to do? Waste my time as I get older. The tick tock, Mr. Wick. The clock is now working against me. It ain't working for me. Would I waste my time arguing with you when I clearly know the hell you're stupid? She thinks she has a good understanding of men and doesn't have a good father, never had a good boyfriend, never had a good brother, never read a book on a man, but gave up the pussy and thinks that she has a good understanding to be able to speak at a table with other men. You're not qualified. And the same goes in reverse for females. But see, males don't believe they need anything except ass, generally, as a boy, not a man. Men want the whole package. Boys want ass. It's how our hormones are driven every day, 8 times a second during a breath. We're thinking about sex. So males, until they become men, don't really value or look at women or girls the way they generally should. Now, you can have a man who's, you know, 15, 20, whatever, 40 years old. But you can also have a boy who's also at 15, 20, 40 years old. And those are the ones I call adult sized boys. So guys don't really, and the same thing for females, we don't know how to value and appreciate each other, and we don't even know who we are yet. And we think that we have all of the things figured out, and we do for that age and those experiences. So when somebody comes along and they're shitty, and say for this girl, she's getting advice about worldly things. Some of that advice could be good, some of it can be bad because the person that she's getting it from, who she believes she can trust because she's got a vagina too, she thinks she can trust this person. It's my mom. It's my aunt. It's my sister. And a lot of times, guys will give some guys advice, but it's generally from a bitter place. Females usually give advice to the young ones from a bitter place. They give them the very same tools that they shitty, the same shitty tools most of the time, with one or two good ones, based on the fact that they use those tools to get where they're at. Well, I'm sorry. Well, if you're a female and you didn't been ran through by tons of guys, and you're like, oh yeah, just go out there, you get to experience all the dicks out there. That's horrible advice. I don't see how taking tons of dicks builds anything positive with you. I've never seen one female say, yeah, I took like 20 different dicks from 20 different guys, and now I know how to do business. You know how to take the dick, but you don't know how to build shit. So you're a hoe on the side of the road or a 304. Guys out here telling young boys, oh, just go get some vagina, boy, go get it. You ain't got nothing yet. You a virgin. Oh, I didn't see guys, myself included when I was younger, go out, chase girls. We got to go get that booty. And they can't balance a checkbook. They don't know how to change a tire. They don't know how to build their own self worth. But they know how to get a girl pregnant. They know how to be a father, but not a dad. No matter what of my videos on this channel you guys see, it will never be about me dogging girls or guys. Stupid people, yes. If the shoe fits, then I'm sure I will see you down in my comments talking trash because you're probably one of the stupid people. But there can also be people who are just not knowledgeable, who want to learn. That's who this is for. The people who are basically stuck into the fabric of the path and the road that we're all walking, who's stuck there and will die there. That's where their story ends. Or does it? Those people still have a purpose. They will be examples. They will be used. They will be stepped on, stepped over, stepped through for all the people who are going to walk the entire path and make it to the castle, so to speak. But the story needs these people on the side of the road because they become the stories that are in your Bible, that are in my mouth, that are in this guy's story and in his mind. Because the mistake I made years ago was thinking everybody was trying to get to the castle and everybody should. Well, we will all cross the finish line, but some people's finish lines are right here on the path, and others are farther down the path. We're not all going to the same places, but we will end up in the ultimate, if you believe in an afterlife, same place. But then again, if you believe in heaven and hell, not all of us are going to end up in the same places. And if you don't, it is what it is. Believe in whatever you want to believe. I'm not here to give you facts of this, that, or the other. To each of their own. But what I will say is this, like, so I'm talking, and I'm talking about this in one of my other videos. My cousin's son, and for 5 years he's been working, and I do believe he has a slight mental disability. Not that bad, but and you wouldn't even notice looking at him at all. He's been through a lot, so I'll give him that. And he's trying to learn business. And he's trying to learn from this multi-level pyramid marketing scheme where every little bit he does helps them a hundredfold, but he gets a fraction of it. So instead of really reaching out to me, his mom wanted me to talk to him, so I did, but he doesn't want to hear anything I have to say. He wants to get passionate, hot, and mad. But the person who, for 5 years, didn't help him, took his money every time, and when he was living on the streets, didn't give him a place to live, he's not talking bad about that person. Now he's got a new coach who I talked to who's pretty much still yet full of shit as far as I'm concerned, but at least acknowledges the questions and says he's making an attempt, but still yet taking this young man's money. And I'm not seeing a ton of anything because when I started getting at this, and by young man, I mean, what is he, 27? Yeah, something like that, 27. He wanted to be mad at me. Here I come as a self-made man, no father, no none of that stuff, made myself, self-made, knows who I am, seen my other YouTube channel, told him where I'm at with everything, something I normally don't do. And he wanted to take it as I'm basically just bragging and shitting on him. But yet, the people who've taken advantage of him, he still wants to suck the dick. Told him I would help him with his channel, told him I would give him some of my files and techniques on how to do business because I've only been doing it since I was 19. He's 27 and has nothing successful. All those other people were like, oh, yeah, we just, like the one guy, his boss was like, oh, yeah, it took me 10 years to become successful in this multi-level marketing scheme. So, okay, so that means that 5 years back, my cousin was just getting started and he was 5 years in and starting to reap the benefits. But my cousin is 5 years in and still yet had to, while debating with me, which there is no debate, had to call him on the phone to speak for him. I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for my cousin and really wanting to help her son out. But Are you kidding me? So, but in that, because I like to call myself a learning teacher. I like to learn, but I also like to teach. I once again relearned a valuable lesson is that unless somebody comes to me, they're not ready to hear what I have to say. And they're frustrated because they're not where they want to be in life, but they want to listen to people who have no love for them, no respect for them, taking their money. I I can charge between 100 to 500 or more, $2,500 an hour in what I'm doing. And I have, and I've gotten it. He's never even made that kind of money, and I get it all the time, but doesn't want to listen to me. But in that, maybe the lesson there wasn't so much for him as it was for me. Stop trying to give advice to people who don't want to hear it. I always say life imitates or art imitates life. And when I used to watch some of the old kung fu Japsaki movies, especially Bruce Lee, got a little Bruce Lee, learned a lot from him. Not only was Bruce Lee a fighter, but he actually majored in philosophy. So he was very smart. You can whoop ass and he was smart. Matter of fact, while he was whooping your ass, he would tell you some physiological, psychological, um, metaphysical stuff for you to dwell on while you're laying there with his foot on the back of your head. Philosophical, that one too. Throw that one in there. People can't hear you when they're in an unhealthy place. Unhealthy people can give you advice from an unhealthy place because a lot of times that's all they know and they subconsciously love misery. They don't want you to get ahead of where they are. But I digress. When I used to watch those kung fu movies, I learned and noticed something because I always believed that so above, so below, so below, so above. You can find a lot of answers to your daily questions and thoughts in everyday things in life. Movies, the bum on the side of the street, the old guy feeding pigeons, whatever else. If you look closely enough. And what I noticed was is that in those movies, the grand kung fu master, the master gold dragon or whatever he was, I never once, and you can learn a lot from the Asian culture and their symbolisms and their metaphors and all that. I never once seen not one master walk down a village and just knock on doors and give advice or knock on doors to find students. He did his own damn thing. And when they were ready and needed advice or tutelage or training, they found him.